In Between. Episode 12. By AMAH'S. They both left the store and went back to the main house to make the call. Veronica picked up her phone but had another idea forming on her head. She was going to ask of Pete Johnson again. Maybe the receptionist or whoever that answered the call the other day was either new or was going through some personal stuffs. That could be the only reason why they don't know who she was talking about. She dialed the number and waited for them to pick it up. Immediately somebody answered. It was a man this time and Veronica felt relieved. A man will take his time and answer her far better than a lady. Veronica greeted kindly and the receiver replied with a calm voice. How can we help you, madam? My name is Veronica Johnson. My husband's name is Pete Johnson. She waited if the name will at least ring a bell in the man's ear, but the man asked her to go ahead. Well, my husband works in your company. He had been a staff for over 7 years. That's before we got married. Because we have been married for about 5 years now and he had always works there and does a lot of traveling too. He is in the marketing department. He travels a lot, sometimes for weeks and months. But this last one he had not returned home. It's been almost 6 months of his disappearance. I mean his usual work journey. My husband haven't called or returned his calls. No message or any kind of information from him. I called some days ago and the receptionist couldn't give me a good explanation, which was why I'm calling again today. I and the kids are worried. Please, check through the record, computer database or whatever that needs checking. Let me know the whereabouts of my husband. I will really appreciate if you can give me a consoling reply so that I hang on to that and know what exactly to do next. There was silence at the other end. Hello, are you still there? Veronica asked as she checked her phone to know if the call is still on. Yes, madam, I'm checking through our record. Both the old and the new ones. And from what I can see here there is no such name. No Pete Johnson, ma'am. I checked through all the department on the system and I can't find any. And you mentioned that he travels a lot and have been gone for months. Most of our assigned marketers do travel and the highest they can be gone is either a week. If there is emergency of any sort then they make it 2 weeks. No marketer goes on a month or more journey except if is on a special assignment. A week is highest in our record so far. An emergency does not come up often. And the journey is once in 4 or 6 months when our new products arrives. Is not a monthly thing, it happens once in 6 months. I'm giving you all this update for you to understand how some of our businesses runs here. Maybe is either a wrong name or you are calling the wrong number, ma'am. Veronica opened and closed her mouth. She was speechless. She doesn't know what to say next. Since the call was on loudspeaker, Jane could hear everything. Jane kept giving signs and whispering to her friend to mention Jabril Elliott. Maybe they will have an idea. Hello, Ma. If there's no other request then I will have to end the call and I wish you well in your quest to find your husband. The man finally say. Jane quickly dragged the phone out of Veronica's hand. She interrupted the man before he will go off. Hold on, sir. Please. One more thing. Don't be offended that we are bugging you too much. It's a very sensitive situation that we are into. Please bear with us. Can you help us look up for another name? Jabril Elliott. Does such name exist in your company's record? The man asked her to hold on. After some time he said, Yes, there's Jabril Elliott. He no longer works here though. He was dismissed from his duties long time ago and haven't been seen or heard of. Who's Mr. Jabril to you? The question sounded like a time bomb. A clear warning that something about him was fishy. Veronica started throwing tantrum. She was reminding Jane of her warning, but Jane, having gotten a positive step on Jabril, wanted to know more. We were wondering if Pete Johnson probably used such a name instead of his real name, or they could be two different people. I don't really know. It's all confusing, sir. I wish we can see a picture of what Jabril Elliott looks like. I'm sorry, but we don't want to leave any stone unturned. Or is there a problem with Mr. Jabril? Jabril Elliott was in the sales department when he was working in this company, and his seat as a salesman does not require him traveling. There was no need for him to go on a journey. We have people assigned for that. Mr. Jabril was involved in. He paused, and Jane, who was very eager to hear the rest of what he had to say, urged him to continue or even send a picture of the Jabril Elliott to them. The man told them that they have to come over their office if they want to see the pictures of Mr. Jabril and every other information about him. Jane thanked the man and told him that they will decide on when exactly to come, since it's a long distance from where they live. Jane thanked the man for his patience and the great help he rendered them. After the call ended, there was a short silence. Jane managed to speak. Vero, you have to drive over there and check out the pictures they have of Jabril Elliott. In that way all this mystery will be solved. Even if Jabril is not Pete, we can continue our search for him from a different angle, or even involve the police. I know you don't believe or want to believe that Jabril Elliott may have some similarities with Pete, but Pete Johnson is not in their record while Jabril is. What will you say to that? Veronica replied after long thought. This Jabril of a guy does not travel. His job description doesn't require such activity, only those specially assigned for that. The man also said that he was dismissed, which means he was sacked by the company long time ago, which could be several years ago. But on the other hand, Pete travels a lot. He spent most of his life outside home. I will categorically say that Pete spends 75% outside, traveling, and just 25% with us here. He had never spent a whole straight month with us due to the nature of his job, according to him. So, I don't think Pete have any connection with Jabril, whoever he might be. The difference is huge, Jane. However, he probably had some business stuffs or deal that they did together. What I can't explain is the fact that this same company that Pete works for years doesn't have his data. No database on Pete Johnson, who is a major staff. I don't understand, Jane. Is getting all confusing. That's more reason why you need to go over there and confirm, Vero. Maybe if they see you in person they will explain further. Like I said earlier, let's not leave any stone unturned. Let's keep searching until we find your husband. Vero complained of leaving the kids for such a journey. Jane asked her not to worry, she will watch them in her absence. Veronica, after much thought, decided that she will go over to the company herself. They can't possibly tell her that there's no record of Pete Johnson, her husband. It took her about a week to fully make up her mind. Jane gave her some money and also fueled her car. She promised to babysit the kids until she returns. Veronica thanked her as she entered the road. With the address of Pete's company close by, she drove on without a second thought. Her curiosity will soon be confirmed, even though she had fears that she refused to speak off or admit to, but she silently prayed that Pete is safe and not related in any way to Jabril. She will at least get to see what Jabril Elliott looks like and also why his name was inscribed on Pete's cup in her dream. The man they spoke with said Jabril was involved in something, either accident or some shady deals. He refused to say the rest. That alone is a clear warning that Jabril is a bad news and can never be Pete Johnson or any way related. Nothing was making sense, but she hopes soon all this puzzle will be solved.